Good morning and welcome to another exciting episode of Breakfast with Unity. So on today's show, what we're going to be doing is some split screen camera stuff and some camera overlay stuff. This is all stuff that can happen in Unity. This isn't any pro specific stuff. And we're going to leverage some of the content that we've already created on this show to do this. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be duplicating this laser dot. I'm going to just hit Command D. Or Control D if you're on Windows, that duplicates. You can also find it in the edit menu probably. There it is, duplicate. So we're going to just drag this out for now, and I'm going to open it. So first off, I just want to show, I made a couple changes to this scene since the last episode. I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to be updating things as they go. I'm never going to change things to a spectacular degree, just little fixes and improvements. And I'm going to include a little README file. Like I've got this README file with changes that I've made since the show. So you can just go to that to find out what has changed. But I just wanted to show you what I did with the laser here. So we now have this laser trail when we move the laser, and it looks kind of cool. And the reason that we have this trail, it was super easy to do, and I should have done it on the show. I didn't realize it until after. We had set this up as a particle system, and so if we just change the simulation space from local to world, it means that instead of all of the dots staying clumped together when you move your cursor, it actually keeps them where they used to be. So just their lifetime keeps them around. And so I just did some color over lifetime to blend them out, and it created this nice little laser trail. And it's super cheap. This would work on mobile, no problem. So let's actually get to the camera stuff. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to duplicate our first-person controller here. And it's going to be a little awkward at first, but this will be a good test. And we're just going to move him to another location. I'm just going to send him out here and rotate him 180. Just make it so that he is looking at the other player, I guess, but in a different distance. So if we hit play right now, we're only going to see one camera. It's probably going to be the new guy's camera. They both have cameras, and they both have audio listeners, which this is going to remind us of for a while. I'm not going to worry about that just yet. But if you are worried about it, you can just remove one of the audio listeners. Just pick one. Unity doesn't support multiple audio listeners by default, so you have to get creative sometimes in split screen gaming. So what we're going to do is we're going to make the split screen. So let's do a horizontal split screen first. It's very simple. All you have to do is change the viewport rect on both your cameras. So if we just change viewport rect, so if we make the height 0.5, and on the other camera we set the height to 0.5, and then we offset the Y by 0.5. How many screens you're offsetting things. So 0.5 is half a screen, basically. So this is making the screen half as big and then moving the screen up half a screen. So if we hit play here, you'll see that we have split screen. It's as easy as that. We just created a split screen game, and that's awesome. Now, right now, when I control one player, it controls both of them. We're going to fix that in a second. Before I fix that, I just want to show you that it's just as easy to do the horizontal split screen. So you can do just width 0.5 and x 0.5. Then put the y back to 0 on this one, and then we go same thing here except for just 1 and 0.5. And then if we hit play, you'll see that we have horizontal split screen. It's bleeding into the other scene because what we're looking at is so generic. It won't be as obvious if you have like a skybox in there and other stuff, but you can also like create like some border stuff if you needed to kind of define that region by just putting some UI elements or something on the screen. So that's basic split screening. I'm going to switch it back to the horizontal. Because I think it makes more sense in a shooter type environment. Usually you don't have as much vertical space, especially in this game. We have no vertical, so it doesn't matter. So we're going to change that to 0.5, and we're going to change this back to 0, 1, 0.5, and 0.5. So if we hit play again, we're back to split screen. Wait, no, we're not. Messed something up. So, width 0. That's not a good one. There we go. That'll help. There we go. So we got both our cameras going again. So let's make it so that each of the players have independent control real quick. So we're using the built-in first-person controller stuff, and there's two scripts that basically drive this. There's the mouse look controller, and there's the FPS input controller. And one of them is JavaScript, so you're going to have to bear with me. We're going to actually do a little bit of JavaScript on the show. It's not a big deal. It's very simple what we're going to do. I'm going to do the C# one first, though, just so that you guys know what you're doing, know what we're doing. So if you're looking to mouse look, it's for mouse look, so you'd think this would be very hard to like turn into keyboard, which we're going to have to do because we can't have two mice. But it's actually very easy because they just used the input get axis, mouse X, and mouse Y commands here. So we can actually replace these with the joystick input very easily. And they hard-coded these values, and this is one of those things like, this is, if you were doing your own project, you might start with hard-coding it. So this is actually something you might do in the future if you hard-coded input values and you wanted to change them to non-hard-coded. It's very easy to fix. So all we're going to do is I'm going to create a couple public variables. I'm going to call public string, because it's just a name. And we want horizontal axis name equals, and then we're going to default it to the same thing that it was already defaulted to, so they don't mess up. So we're going to do mouse X in this case. That's the horizontal axis, and we're going to do the same thing here. And the reason we want to make it exactly the same is so that if the default values are set right, this script will work exactly as it should have. If you already have levels or something that rely on the script working the way that you hard coded it, this will enable them to keep working exactly as they did, and then you can additionally have this newfound capability of changing what your axes are. So we're going to do vertical axis name and mouse Y. And then all we're going to do is we're just going to take horizontal axis name and replace mouse X with that. So any place you see a mouse X, just replace that. And then we're going to take vertical axis name, and we're going to replace mouse Y with that. So if we hit save and hit play, right now both the characters should still rotate when we look. So this is still working the way it worked before, which is exactly what we want. Now if we want to change, I'm going to basically put one guy on keyboard. So we're just going to create a couple of inputs real quick. So I'm going to be duplicating the horizontal and vertical ones here. So, and the reason I'm doing that is because we're going to be having a very similar control here. So, so horizontal and vertical is already being used for the movement in these scripts. So I don't actually want to get rid of those named ones. So we're going to call this, I'm going to call this mouse 2, even though mouse 2 X for the horizontal. And it's not really a mouse, but we're just going to call that mouse 2Y. You can call it whatever you want, and we're just going to have to make some controls here for it. So I'm going to just very briefly make mouse 2X. Let's make it IJKL or something. So we'll just do left for J, right for L, and then we're going to do negative button down is K and up is I. So this will give us new mouse inputs here. And now all we have to do is, we didn't have any secondary inputs, right? Let's get rid of the alt negative and alt positive buttons so that we don't run into problems. And so now if we go to one of the if we go to one of the characters, let's go to the second character here, we can change it to mouse 2X and mouse 2Y. So now if I hit play, you'll see that when I rotate, well, one of them's still rotating. Why is that? Oh, it's because that's because there's two places we have to change this. If we go up a level to vertical, to first person controller, it's also got a mouse look script because it's got the head split off. So we change mouse 2X, mouse 2Y, and you'll see that when I rotate here, it doesn't do anything over there. And if I do IJKL, he can rotate. So we now have broken up that input. So we're going to break up his other input real quick. This one's JavaScript, so bear with me. It's not difficult. So if we go into FPS input controller, we're going to do the exact same thing. We're just doing it in JavaScript style. So we're going to create a public var. The declarations are basically reversed. So we're going to call this horizontal input. What do we call them? Horizontal axis name. Let's just do that. Horizontal axis name. And I'm just going to copy and paste vertical axis name so I have it here. And it is of type string. And then we do the same thing just below. I'm just going to copy, paste, copy, paste. There we go. And then we do the same thing we did before, except for now we're replacing horizontal with this, and we need to make sure that our defaults are good. So equals horizontal. And I'm going to just copy this so that I don't mess it up just in case. So equals vertical, and I think that declaration is still valid. We'll find out. And we'll take vertical axis name and replace vertical with that. So if we save and hit play, string is not a valid type. Maybe we have to capitalize string in, yeah, we probably have to capitalize string in JavaScript. So capital string. Hit save. Yep, there we go. So if we hit play now, they should still move the same if we strafe. Yep, they do. But what we want to change is we want to... Why does it look like he's... Why can he see the other player or himself or something? Oh, there's some weirdnesses going on. Isn't there? I'm not going to worry about it for right now. Why is it doing that? I think we should... I'm just going to... for right now. We'll figure that out later. Not on the show. So, what are we doing? We just wanted to split this out. So now if we go into our inputs again, project setting input, I'm just going to duplicate horizontal. So duplicate array element and vertical one more time. And this time we're going to call this horizontal 2 and vertical 2. And this one, what I'm going to just do is I'm going to make it so that horizontal 1 will not have the left and right options, and horizontal 2 will not have the A and D options. So we're splitting the controls there. And vertical, we will not have the down and up options, and vertical 2, we will only have the down and up options. We won't have the W and S. Play now. If I hit forward on 1, and it moves it on both for some reason. Oh, it's because we didn't actually change the... That's right, we didn't change the input controller. So horizontal axis name, we want to change on the second guy to be horizontal 2 and vertical 2. And we're going to hit save, hit play, and there we go. We've split it out. So now if I move with these keys, it works out character, and if I move with these keys, it works the other character. Perfect. Yay. So I'm going to save the scene. We're going to duplicate the scene. Actually, I'm going to duplicate the old laser dot again. So just Command D or Control D if you're on Windows. Pull it out here. I'm going to call this, I'm going to open up the new one, and then I'm going to rename this one to split screen. And this one we're going to call overlay. So on our overlay one, what we're going to change is how the laser dot actually interacts with things. So so I'm going to duplicate the laser dot as well, because we're going to be making some changes to it, and I don't want to mess up anything in the prefab. So we're going to call this laser dot overlay. And what we're going to do here is we're going to... so remember last time when we did the laser dot, if we hit play, we had to put an offset on it. So like if you get really close here and turn to the right, you'll see that the laser is actually offset from the surface, and you can actually kind of really just get it right on the edge there. And some people might be bothered by that. And the reason we did that is if we don't offset it, if we go to our laser dot overlay, let me actually change it so that this uses the laser dot overlay as opposed to laser dot. So if we change this to the main camera to offset at 0 point, just 0, so that there's no offset, you'll see that when we get up here, it'll clip. Like you see that it becomes kind of a half a laser, and you can definitely tell it's going into the surface, and that doesn't look right. And so that's the reason we had the offset. Now we can actually solve this by doing an overlay. What we can do is we can duplicate our camera here. I'm going to rename this to laser camera. And we should have done this on the last one too. I'm going to untag this as main camera just to make sure that there's only one main camera. Main camera just denotes, if you do camera.main in a script, that's actually all it's doing, is doing a tag lookup for main camera. So you've got a laser camera, it's untagged, and we're going to remove the project laser from one of these. And if we just hit play right now, it should look exactly the same. We haven't changed anything. But if we now change it so that this renders at a later time, and if we go to laser.overlay and we give it a new layer, so we're going to add a layer and call it laser dot, and we're going to go to laser.overlay, change it to laser dot, there we go. Now we can now exclude it from rendering. So if we go to laser camera, we can go to culling mask. This is what it actually renders, so it renders everything. So we're going to choose nothing, and then have it just render the laser dot. And then our main camera, we're going to do the opposite. We're just going to not render the laser dot. And finally, so since we have the depth at 1, this camera will render after the first one, but we told it to clear to the skybox, which means that we won't see anything. So if we just hit play right now, we will only see our laser, and it actually is hitting geometry. You can see that it disappears when we turn to the right or left. It's actually hitting that cube, but we can't see the cube. And that's because we're hitting it with the skybox. So we want to actually clear it to depth only. And if we do that, we now are rendering both cameras. So like if I turn off the laser camera, you'll see that the laser no longer shows up. It's actually still there in the scene. We could, I could pause this and prove that. Command Shift P. We can go and see. Well, it's disabled right now because I looked the wrong direction. But oh, the whole camera's disabled, so the script's disabled. So that's not a good example, unfortunately. But basically, because the camera is actually rendering, and you'll see that the clipping problem is now gone. Like if we go all the way to the left, this is right on the surface, and it's no longer clipping, and it's because we're rendering it second. This is kind of a special case where we can do this. Like if another player had a laser dot and was doing this, you would see their lasers through walls. You might not necessarily want this in every case, but in a case where we're projecting directly into where the player is looking, we can get away with this. You can also use overlays for things like UI and stuff, so you can have a separate camera rendering your UI. That's really standard. There's a lot of videos on that. I just wanted to show another use case for overlays. So, ran over a little bit on time. Sorry about that. Thank you for joining us. You guys have a great morning.